Welcome to the Professor of Perseverance podcast. I'm Dr. James Purdue, aka the Professor of Perseverance. Thank you for coming in today. Today we got a topic. It's serious topic. It's on suicide, and we have a mother here that her son had committed suicide, and so it's not just suicide is that bad off. It's teenage suicide, but I mean suicide. We got people, older people, younger people, middle-aged people. One thing about suicide, it doesn't discriminate against any ethnicity, age group. I mean, they don't care. The suicide, it doesn't care. When it happens, it happens. It's definitely a demon within itself. So let me give you a little intro, small intro of our guest today, JoAnne, the mother of three. Jordan is 32, Caleb 31, and Jacob, forever 15 years of age, lost to suicide on 11/4/2007. Learning to live with a piece of her heart in heaven. And I said this before when I read this, learning to live learning to live with a piece of her heart in heaven. Boy, that should be a should be
a book
title. Should be a book title. That's it. So JoAnne, if you ever decide to write a book about this incident and everything with this, and forever keep your memory going with Jacob, I would do that and help you and wouldn't charge you a dime. And I don't charge anybody anything anyway, so it's not like it's a special deal. So anybody that needs help with doing their book, I don't mind helping them, because that's something that's information that needs to be put out there for everybody to be able to get to. So JoAnne, thank you for being here today. And again, I know this is a serious topic. It can be a hard topic, but it's something that it needs to be talked about. And I've said it before, I've attempted suicide 3 times in 3 days. That's how bad I wanted out. And fortunately, blessed, however you want to look at it, God didn't say it was my time to go. And so now I find part of my purpose is interviewing people with any type of disability, adversity, that we can talk to and help other people along the way. So maybe there's still a purpose for me, is why I was never taken away from there. JoAnne, go ahead and tell us a little bit about your 3 sons, and particularly we'll get more into about Jacob.
Well, Jordan, my oldest, he's and Caleb, the middle boy. I still worry about them, because they were the 3 musketeers, the 3 boys. And, so they lost one of their musketeers, and it really affects them. I mean, even Jordan, deals with depression now because of it. But I am very blessed in the fact that somehow we were able to come together. So often it tears families apart.
Yep. Again, like I said, suicide doesn't discriminate. That's for sure. Of course, cancer doesn't discriminate. A lot of disabilities really doesn't discriminate. But suicide, that's a harder one to deal with. With Jacob, and I do have a couple of pictures that you sent me. And here's Jacob. Here he is in his serious mode with his karate. I think you told me that he was a 2-time black belt.
Yes, second degree black belt.
Second degree. And also there he is being his comic self, being lightening the load a little bit there. So he's a handsome young man. So comes from a beautiful young woman there, JoAnne. Hey, don't tell your husband. I don't want to come beat me up now. So, all right. Now, JoAnne, let's get into this other help here. And before we go in, let me put this down here. If anyone, let me put this ticker down here. If anyone, while we're talking on YouTube here, and it will be on my podcast later, scrolling across the bottom is the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. If someone is going through a struggle that you're suspected of, have them call the number 800-273 8255 is scrolling across the bottom. That's 800-273-8255. And also, JoAnne sent me some information. Let's go ahead and look at these two here, JoAnne. Another hotline that we can go to. And here, if you Google free telephone counseling hotlines, free telephone counseling hotlines, or open counseling, and you can Google that, and you can go to, on the front page, it says suicide crisis, alcohol and substance abuse. There's an online licensed counselor today that you can talk to for free. All right, anonymous. Don't have to give a name. Give a fake name. Something. If you need to talk to someone, there's a two places: the free telephone counseling hotline and the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. You go to those two places to help you out. And JoAnne also showed me, and you can discuss more about this one, JoAnne, about this face group. All right, Ellies Way group. If you can tell us a little bit about this Facebook group.
Okay. Ellies Way was started by a gentleman. His name is Todd. He lost his daughter to a tragic accident. And so it's nice because for anybody who's lost somebody, whether it's a child to suicide, a child to an accident, a spouse, there's all kinds of subgroups, so you can touch base with people who have gone through what you've gone through. Because sometimes just being able to talk to somebody who's been through it, and even just to post what you're feeling, just to get it out. Because I think one of the biggest problems is we keep it inside. So this is a closed group where you can feel free to express what you're feeling without judgment, to just get it out.
And thank you for providing those information on Ellies Way and the free telephone counseling on Googling it. All right. So, hey, Erica, thank you for coming in. Always great to see you. And yes, this is a sad and hard topic to deal with. DJ, thank you for coming in. And Erica, here she goes. Here she saw the pictures. There you go. Very handsome he was. So, Sunshine. Oh, sorry. No, you're just in time. We're just getting started. Sunshine, this is a topic today on suicide, hopefully to help someone. JoAnne, our speaker today, our guest today, her son tragically commits suicide, and she wants to open up and help other people. Now, you're talking about Ellies Way, and of course, this free conference TV, the suicide helpline. It's for people to be able to open up to someone. I mean, that's one thing, is you've got to be able to find someone when you got issues going on that you can talk to in trust. Mm-hmm. That they know, that they're not going to go back and stab you behind your back and talk about you. They're not going to tell the community what's going on. And you got to trust someone. And if you don't have that trust, at least you can go to one of these hotlines, helplines, to help do that. Again, anonymously, put a fake name up there, but tell the real issues. And what you was talking about, and we had mentioned this before, there's a lot of people that want to help, but then there's a lot of people who just don't know how to crave their mouth, hold their tongue. Like my younger brother died. He was alcohol abuse. And a woman come up to my mom during the funeral service, during the service, and says, God knew you were a tough woman, a strong woman, and that's why she was able to take Andy on home early. And then my mom says, so if I was weak, he would still be here. Now, again, I know the woman in all intentions meant good, but it's not something to say, especially at the service. So have you had anything where people try to help, but their help kind of bounced around in a different area?
Well, there's many times where people are like, oh, he's in a better place. And it's like, no, his better place is here with me, and that just always gets me. It's like, and again, I've had people say, you must be a strong woman because you've pulled through this. And
I don't know if you pull through or not. I mean, because that's like most tragedies, you're going to deal with this the rest of your life. You may not think about it every minute, every day, every hour, but you have different occasions. The date that he died, Christmas, 4th of July's, Thanksgivings. I mean, you're still going to be dealing with the rest of your life. Same thing with my mother, and she and a lot of other people made the same comment that a parent is not supposed to bury the child. It's supposed to be the other way around.
well, see, and I have a wonderful friend who said, this is your new normal. And that really spoke volumes, because it is. There are going to be times when I cry, times when I'm just going to want to bury my head. And it's okay to do that, but you can't let it run your life.
And that's where I go back. I've heard this from a friend of mine, Jan Fansler. Hey, Jan, you're not on right now, but if you come on to the replay, Jan Fansler, she said her mom or dad, one of them says, it's okay to visit Pittyville, but it's not okay to live there forever. And so even though, JoAnne, this is your new norm, and it's okay to visit those special times, hard times, great times, but to live there in a miserable, depressant area of life is you got to get out of that. And so, and that's easier said than done too. I mean, when I was suicidal, people saw through it. I tried to hide it. And I mean, I had 1 or 2 people say, James, whatever you're going through, you just got to get over it. Well, that's easier said than done. You just can't get over. And again, that's where I should have opened up and talked to people, which I didn't do. So, all right. Did Jacob, a lot of people, they'll leave their suicide letter, a letter behind. Did Jacob somehow leave anything behind to help you get through this?
No. See, and one of the things you asked about earlier was if he had had any medical issues. He had actually been suffering from headaches, and we had taken him to the doctors, and we also took him to the dentist because the teeth problems can cause headaches. And a couple of days before he passed away, we had set up an appointment because we had an MRI done, and we're going to see, what that had said. Unfortunately, he didn't survive to see if the MRI, detected anything. I didn't find out until afterwards how much the breakup from his girlfriend really affected him, because he was, this was his first love, and he felt, that he was going to marry her. And I didn't see the signs. And that's something that's forever going to tug at my heart, is the fact that as a mom, I feel like I should have seen it, and I didn't.
And that's another thing is JoAnne, is young people, we fall in love hard, and we don't know what the heck love really is. We just know it's a strong feeling, and we just love people. And then when that breakup happens, we're so young because we dive into love so hard, we really don't know how to handle it. I coached a young man, handsome young man, 15 years old. He had an athletic promise ahead of him. I mean, people could see him playing football at UT. It's what he wanted to do, be a wide receiver at UT. And him and a girl broke up, and he killed himself. They just couldn't handle it. So we just don't know, especially at a young age, we dive in too hard and we don't know how to get out of it. So, now you were talking about not recognizing signs and stuff. Do you, and I'm sure you did at the beginning, do you still feel guilty about not recognizing some of this stuff?
Yes, that kind of comes back, and it's that whole thing. Even with the stages of guilt, you go through, the anger and the depression, and at the end is acceptance. But even after you accept it, sometimes it still comes back around, and so learning to deal with that. I've gotten to the point, it's been 12 years now, where that'll come around and I've been able to identify it and say, no, the guilt I need to push that guilt away. But like I said, it's taken 12 years of working through this to get to the point where when those guilty feelings come around, I'm able to say, no, I don't accept these feelings.
Well, that's tricks that our mind plays, and I don't want to say every issue is a Satan or devil issue that's negative. I wouldn't say that. There's times that we just feel guilty and we throw that in there, I think. But yeah, because it's your new norm, you're going to relive some of this stuff. And do you have a support group that you can open up and talk to, or do you try to hold? My mom's world's worst. She'll try to hold in as much as she can. She doesn't open up much. She'll be turning 80 next week, and she doesn't open up much. So, do you have a support group that you can open up to help you get past some of these times?
I do tend to try to keep it in, but I've also, through counseling, learned ways to deal with it. There are times at work, if I'm really feeling it, I will go to the bathroom. And I know this sounds strange, but I'll go and sit in a stall and, inhale deeply and blow it out, close my eyes, focus on either a scripture or a good time, and just step back. And like I said, this is something that through counseling I've learned how to deal with. I do, even though my safety net that I originally had have moved into other areas, I'm still connected with them. There's 3 very close friends that are only a Facebook message away. And, if I text them and say, this is a bad time, that they will talk to me. My counselor has since retired, but I also have her number, so I know that there's 4 outlets for me if I really need it that I can reach out to. And then, of course, my husband, I tend to put him last just because I know that he too deals with this. And so.
Yeah, I would think that even though it was probably good for both of you to open up at each other, but also I can see where both of you trying to relive it together would be very stressful. So I would think if each one of you can find somebody else to open up to, and there's going to be times that both of y'all are going to have to open up to each other, but to do it every time, I guess I can see that where that would be stressful on a marriage, family life.
There have been times when I've just fallen into his arms and just cried, and he doesn't say anything. He just lets me cry, which, is just what I need. But I think one of the reasons we've been able to stay married is the fact that we've both respected how each other grieves.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I like to go to the cemetery and talk to Jacob. That brings me peace. My husband, he's like, no, to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. So he doesn't like to go to the cemetery, So he respects that I sometimes go. I respect that he chooses not to, and I think that mutual respect for allowing us to grieve in our own way has helped us to stay married.
I would think so too, because there's no one size fit all way of grieving. Everybody has their own way of doing it. So I used to, one time I got mad and everything like this, and this is a little off the topic, but but I got frustrated with something. I used to be a pitcher when before my injury and everything like this, so could throw the ball pretty hard. I got mad one time, said, "Give me the ball," and my brother gave it to me, and I went to go throw it, and all it did was hit me on my own leg, the ball, because I couldn't throw it out far. And so I was going, that doesn't work anymore. So I had to find a new way for me to grieve whenever something like that happens. So is that what happens? Does your husband, when you throw a plate across the room, he goes, I think she's upset now. So
actually, I don't do that anymore. I actually, early on in our marriage, did throw a cup at a wall once when I was mad at him.
But don't do it in that new home of yours now. I know you got a new home. You've just been in a little over a year, hadn't you? Not quite a year.
Been a couple years.
It's been a couple years now. I remember you showed me pictures of it because I told you, I said, your house is my house. So we looked out the outside and I go, that's my house. So, all right. Then people wonder, how did JoAnne and we get along so well? She works at Ricardo's favorite walking establishment. I won't give you the real name, but we'll tell you something with Wally World, something similar to that. But that's his favorite walking establishment. And JoAnne has opened up to me before. And whoops, just do it this way. And here, in this book here that I've printed up, that she's in here telling her story about Jacob and everything. Now, you was talking about you like to relax, take deep breaths, reminisce about some good times, especially when you're being hit hard on a special occasion, and then Jacob's anniversary, suicide anniversary, or birthday or something. What's this thing about an egg, a carrot, a coffee, something story that you like to think about and you like to kind of bring it all in together with you?
Yes. All three of my boys, well, and even my husband, love coffee. And so Starbucks is one of their favorite places. And sometimes when I'm feeling depressed, I will go to Starbucks because I know that was one of our happy places. And that's why this story just rings so much to me. A mother and a daughter were talking about the difficulties of life. And the mother said, think about an egg, a carrot, and a coffee bean. If you put the egg in hot water, it becomes hard. If you put a carrot in hot water, it gets soft. If you put a coffee bean in water, it changes with its environment and becomes coffee, becomes something good. And so, that I take that and I'm like, okay, I'm going to be the bean. In times when I'm depressed, it's like, just let me be the bean. Let me be something good. And I add a little twist on it, add your own flavoring. For me, it's peppermint because the aroma of peppermint is very healing. And so when I'm feeling depressed, I'll get a peppermint mocha from Starbucks and just drink it and smell it and allow that to just kind of seep into me. And I tell people that story and I say, sometimes people are going through things and they might not be strong enough to be their own being. And so, as friends and family, maybe we need to stand in and be the being for them, be that shoulder that they can lean on. And, sometimes you don't even have to say anything. Sometimes they just need a shoulder to cry on and a hug to know that they're loved.
It's amazing to me. Of course, we're all different, right? We're all different, but it's amazing how that some people can, whatever situation is, they can pick up and take off life and ready to move on and go as if nothing really happened. They've just accepted terms. They know how their own issue of dealing with it works. For me, I was in a depression for like 5 years after I got my injury. I tried to hit it the best that I could, but it was an issue that I've been trying to hide that depression. So, and then here you are dealing as a being. And when you say there's some people that are have a hard time dealing with it and they need help. Well, again, we all need help. People, sometimes they don't realize how strong they are until they put into a situation. And that's sad to say, because you don't want people to suffer. We want to suffer as little as possible. But if it can make you find out how strong you are, maybe in the long run, that is good for you. Not to say suicide would be good for anybody, but I'm saying in the long run on whatever. Hey, we got a new listener, a new one in here, Miss Southern Belle. Thank you for coming in. And Erica, thank you. Yes, it is. She said, great story. And she needs to be the bean. There you go, Erica. Yes, thank you.
And I know early on, it was hard for me to cope. I even started cutting, because to put the pain someplace else and get it off my heart. At work, I had a box cutter, and I would go to the bathroom, and, right on my arm, I would just start cutting, so the pain was someplace else. And, I was very blessed to have people in my life where, like, you need to get help now. Mm-hmm. And then when I went to the BAB Center and got counseling, for a while I was on antidepressants, and that really helped me. And then a friend got me connected with a now defunct organization called To Write Love on Their Arms. And so I would start writing, instead of cutting, I would write scriptures on my arm, so that when I was feeling depressed, I would, look and see that scripture, that encouragement. And then from there, I started buying bracelets with messages on them. I still wear today. If you ever look at my arms, you'll see on one of my wrists, I always wear a bracelet with the Italian colors to remember my family. I also have a bracelet that's a footprints poem to always remember that I am being carried over those rough spots. And so I have those. I call those my gentle reminders as to why I can't go back to that dark place.
And then before, when we wrote the book, and I'm going to shamelessly plug her again, my book with JoAnne, her stories in here. But you didn't open up when we talked before about this cutting issue. This is something new that I've learned recently. This is not the first time I heard it today, but recently, that I didn't realize, and I never understood the cutting until you explained it perfectly. And you weren't explaining, you just telling it. And it made me think a lot different then, that why these people would cut. I never understood it, but you said it's to direct the pain from somewhere else to a control pain. Basically, you can control this pain, where the other one in your heart or emotionally in your mind may not be as self-controlling as the other one. And this pain here may not hurt as hard as much as, especially in the heart. And when you explained it to me, it made me think of cutting a lot different, because I just never understood it.
Yeah, it's not something I tend to like to share, but you've kind of opened my eyes to sharing is a good thing. Maybe somebody out there needs to hear that.
Well, that's why we do the Professor of Perseverance podcast, is so we can help other people. So I'm not a professional at this, so I'm hoping to grow up to be one, a professional, grow up, right? And so this is why I'm doing this. One of my purposes is I believe we need to talk about some of these issues and help other people along the way. And Miss Southern Belle, I see that you're going through a grief therapist because your mother passed away. Yes, my mother turns 80 here just next week, week from yesterday, and she'll be 80. And I just can't see myself without my own mother. I can imagine how tough that's going to be. And Miss Southern Belle, I'm sorry you're going through this from that. So I hope everything works out best for you. So
I'm glad. I noticed that she said that she was seeing a grief therapist. Good for you, to go to somebody to help you walk through it.
Yes. So All right, Joanne, where was that? Where was it going? We talked about that. So I know there's something else I was going to ask you. Hey, is anybody, Erica, Miss Southern Belle, Sunshine, if you're still on, anybody, y'all have a question for Joanne? One good thing about this on YouTube, I can go cut all this out, me babbling like this, and the podcast will run smoother. So I'm just saying, if any of y'all have a question for Joanne as we're doing this. So the last thing, while they're thinking of a question, possibly, last thing, Joanne, give us a final thought, something that can help someone, whether suicide, whatever they're going through, something that can help them get through their issue, get through today, to get looking forward tomorrow, something motivational, something inspiring to help the next person struggling. Can you give us a final thought?
I can't say it enough to just reach out. You know, whether it's one of these links that we posted through the podcast, whether it's a preacher, teacher, a close friend, you know, don't be afraid to just reach out. That can be such a tremendous help. You know, some things in life you just can't do on your own, and just don't be afraid to say help.
And I've said before that, and it's still working issues with me. I say sometimes you got to swallow your sinful pride and ask for that help, and don't be afraid to talk to someone. And Miss Southern Belle, I'm glad again you're going to a grief counseling therapist as well to help you. So, and a good word. Yep. Just reach out, go find somebody you can trust, talk to. And before we leave, again, scrolling across the bottom, National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. If you know of someone that's suicidal, or if you suspect they're going through something, get this number, 800-273-8255. Again, that's 800-273-8255. And contact the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. And also, let's put these other two back up. If you're, go ahead and Google the open counseling and look for free telephone counseling hotlines, and you can find someone for suicide crisis, alcohol and substance abuse. There's a licensed counselor that you can speak to today, every day. I'm sure it's 24/7. I haven't gone to that line myself, but I would imagine it's 24/7. So again, give a fake name if you want to, but tell the real issues so they can help you. And also the Facebook group JoAnne has directed us to. Ellies Way group, ELLI, is it E''SY Way group. So you can go to that and look to try to join their group and open up and talk to other people that's going through something similar to yours. So JoAnne provided some valuable information. Thank you for that, JoAnne. Anything big going on today? Got the day off?
I've got the day off, and I've got my granddaughter with me because it's President's Day, so no school.
All right. I think yes, today is President's Day, no school. That's why I think Sunshine's in. She's a school teacher. And let's see. I think JoAnne, Miss Southern Belle, JoAnne, what can a person see as a warning sign, as a friend, or I'm assuming, or family member? What type of warning sign would you say they need to watch out for?
When they deviate from their personality, you know, if they're generally outgoing and all of a sudden become shy, you know, if you're going out and they're not eating their normal favorite foods, they're like, oh, I'm just not hungry. Sometimes those are two big red flags right there.
That's was with me when I was suicidal. I like to think of myself as an outgoing person, but people saw how not shyness, but I just kept things into myself, and they noticed I wasn't the same humorous, joking person that I would just little short, quick answers, and I moved on without anybody, just it wasn't the same. So I would agree with that. To recognize their normal side, their normal personality, and if it's deviated, something looks different, changing, don't be afraid to ask them. I noticed something's going on. You're not your normal self. Is there anything I can help you with? And they may or may not open up. But if they do, the biggest thing would be just sit and listen.
Yeah, just say, hey, how you doing? Or I just want to let you know, I love you. Just something as simple as them realizing that there's somebody who loves them can make all the difference in the world.
That's right. So, and Miss Southern Bell is asking, I'm assuming with the free counseling telephone line, is that including Canada or other foreign states? All I can say, I don't know. All I can say is because it's on the World Wide Web, the internet, that you could possibly go in and look and search for those numbers that's local to you or your area. So, because even not to say I want you to charge a big international bill on calling, but maybe there's numbers out there that will associate with your area where you're living. Is the only thing I can say with that, Miss Southern Bell. So, all right. This has been a typical topic. You did great today, JoAnne, and I appreciate everything. And hopefully in the next day or two, Ricardo visit his favorite establishment to go walking, and maybe we'll see you there. So, all right. Anyone else? And that's it. That's it. All right. It's good. A good thing, again, we can cut this out when I put it on podcast. So, all right. Hey, thank you for coming to Professor of Perseverance podcast. I'm Dr. James Purdue, the Professor of Perseverance. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, someone you think that will help. Oh, Erica. I want to leave without Erica. She says, oh, Erica, yeah, we got to get you up here now. Before we leave, I'm glad you put it in right at the end. Isolated myself, suffer with suicidal thoughts so much. Outgoing and diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, depression will set in. I can see that when you get that autoimmune disease, that the depression can set in. But you got to remember. I remember one time you came in and talked to us, and I think you said you had 3 sons. Remember, you've got 3 sons. You got to raise them babies. All right. I don't know how old they are. I don't remember, but you got to take care of them, and that's got to be a big love issue in your heart for that. And so, and again, if you need some help, Erica, don't be afraid to reach out to someone. You can email me or DM me or whatever they are nowadays, and I'll try to help you the best I can. I don't know if I can. Again, I'm not a professional therapist or whatnot, but I can sit and listen to you. If that's all you need to do is listen, and then give my little 2 cents in, and then go from there. But Erica, you got a good promise in life. Got them children to raise and everything like that. Hey, my mom, she raised 3 of her boys basically by herself. And I know I'm a little biased, but I think she did a pretty good job. And I'm sure you would do an excellent job as well. So, all right, again, JoAnne, thank you again. Everybody else do something today, tomorrow, something next week that's going to help you persevere past your paralysis.